All right. Well, I did a morning radio tour this morning from about 6:55.
You love those things.
You know, well, it was about 2 hours and 5 minutes of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You're promoting.
Nothing. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Getting the name out there?
Yeah, do like
Working on your brand?
13.
Jesus.
12, I should say, radio stations. For me, it's weird. I never really got past the talking is work part, even though for me, talking is work because that's my line of work. But, a lot of people go, you don't have to do that. And I'm always like, yeah, but I just that's kind of the way I feel. And it's like, well, you got to get up early and you got to talk to all these people. Well, first off, I'm being interviewed. I'm not interviewing them. That would be, if you had to interview 13 people in a row, that would be a little bit of work.
Exhausting.
But you don't have to do that. Number two, back in the day, you'd have to go to a studio and go somewhere that was in like Culver City and have to be there at 5:30 in the morning.
Or New York.
Sit in a booth for 4.5 hours.
Sit in a booth forever. And then you'd get self-conscious because you always had some engineer assigned to you who was always falling asleep because they went to bed at 1 a.m. and then got up at 4:45. And then you'd tell the same stories, like, how'd you start the podcast? You go, all right, here we go for the fourth time. And then you felt bad for the person that was sitting on the other side of the glass trying to get some sleep. But now you can pop in the earbuds and you can turn on SportsCenter and turn the sound down and just sort of sit in your bathrobe.
And is it crystal clear?
It was pretty clear, although there's always a little difference between being on the phone versus being in person. But one of the DJs, the third one in, the 720 hit from St. Cloud, Minneapolis, John Lassman, he reminded me, and part of what I do is I sit with my list of folks and I jot down little notes along the way so it can remind me of things to talk about later on in the day, which is what you're about to hear. He brought up Edgefest, 1996. Edgefest, I guess we're on the Edge in Minneapolis.
That's a big station.
It is. It was. I don't know the status of the Edge. I've not really kept up with terrestrial radio, but the Edge was a big station. Loveline was obviously huge on the Edge, and they flew me out to do the stage announcements. Now, normally when you'd go out to WHF Festival in Washington, D.C., who had it at
RFK Stadium?
RFK Stadium back in the day, they'd put 50, 60,000 people in that place. Now, your job was to show up to the event around, 1 or 2 o'clock, and then you'd bring out the Boss Tones or Garbage or Korn or somebody, and then you'd go back in and have some beers with the Boss Tones, and your day was done. But this is a smaller market maybe, and they flew me out, and so they decided I needed to do all the stage announcements. So
You're the MC for the night.
I brought on every band.
Wow.
And the couple things I remember. So it was not in Minneapolis, and it wasn't in Minnesota. It was right across the border in Wisconsin. And there's some huge outdoor pasture, almost like it was. What was it called, Chris? Was it a park or
Float Right Park?
Float Right Park, and
in Somerset, Wisconsin.
It was only like 45 minutes away, but it was still in another state. And they had a stage all set up. I think they were all kind of taking a page from K-Rock's Weenie Roast. They figured out these big stations could lure these big bands to come in and play.
And the bands are kind of be on a circuit. Like if they did Winnie Roast, a good chance they would do Edgefest the same year.
And it wasn't, I don't think they got paid, but it was understood that they got played.
Well, typically, that band had an album out or a single, and it's like, oh, then months leading up to Weenie Roast, we're going to play your song.
Promote.
And I think the record promoters and things like that understood the importance of making nice with these big alternative radio stations. So Edgefest and Iggy Pop was headlining. I don't remember. I haven't heard much from Iggy Pop in the last decade or so.
This was 96.
93, I think.
No, that's the call letter. I mean, that's the
you're
number.
right.
Yeah,
You're
it's
right.
96.
Because Iggy had a big resurgence, remember, in 96. He was on the Train Spotting soundtrack. That was
And Lust for
96.
Life.
That's what happened. Now, if this was 93, they would have never called on me because I lived in a house in La Crescenta with 3 dudes and no heat, no air, and drove with an Isuzu Trooper. But now fast forward to 96.
Now it's a different life.
Top of the world.
I'm a big star. So they had Iggy Pop. They had Filter.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what Filter's hit was.
I
They had a hit, Candlebox.
What was Candlebox's hit?
Oh, I don't know.
Far behind.
You guys going to have to look up Candlebox and Filter. Of course, Everclear. They had plenty of hits. Korn. I'm trying to read some of the other ones.
That's Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, right?
No
I know
doubt.
I know the front man for the band Flip,
Oh, you do?
Brent Aarons. He's a really cool dude, and they're huge in Minneapolis. They're not a national act. They are a Minnesota band.
So that's how you would explain Flip and not knowing them from living out here in Los Angeles.
Right. The bottom line, Polara, Patty Rothberg, and Flip.
Don't sleep on Love and Rockets.
Yeah, Love and Rockets were there, and No Doubt was there.
Wow.
And so my recollections, I started thinking about it. It's a long time ago. It's 25 years ago. It was at the very beginning of my radio career. I'm even sort of surprised we couldn't have been. Loveline wasn't syndicated before I got there.
Right.
I got to Loveline, the radio show. I think we did one show, one night, that was K-Rock, and my next night we were syndicated. So
Welcome.
I got there, and maybe a 91X San Diego, another one of those big flamethrower alt stations around the country. But we added on pretty quick, and maybe we added on in Minneapolis pretty quick, and maybe I'd been on the air for 9 months or something. I wasn't that long, but they flew me out. I remember flying out with Korn. But I didn't know who they were. I was just like, obviously these guys are doing something. This isn't business.
I think they were pretty nascent in 1996.
But if you can picture the guys from Korn,
Yeah. They weren't from sales.
they weren't from sales. No, they weren't selling insurance. No. So I sort of went, who are these guys? And then I had to go out and bring everybody out. So
We did the whole show?
every band.
Yeah, shit.
Well, again, they flew me out there. It's a radio
Gotta get their money's
station.
worth.
They're going to get their money's worth. Once you went over to this place, was in the middle of nowhere, they had a trailer in the back that was set up. And I remember just sitting back there and be like, there's the No Doubt people, and there's Art from Everclear, and you just hang back there and talk. But I went back there and then say, all right, it's time to go out. I went out. It was a big, almost not Woodstock size, but there could have been 20, 25,000, 15, 20,000. There was a lot of humanity in a big pasture. It was like a big field, it was a little bit muddy. And I just stood up on the stage. And I remember going out there for the first round, and I was going to bring on Candlebox or somebody, but the whole crowd was yelling Korn. So then they started yelling, Korn, Korn, and then I was like, Korn, and then they would go nuts because they kept thinking I was bringing Korn out, but then I would bring Candlebox out.
You thought it was just a random call and response?
Yes, everyone would be disappointed because Korn didn't go on till number 7,
Poor
and I was
Candlebox.
doing it the whole fucking time. I had, and then I have vague thoughts about sitting in the trailer and probably talking to Everclear and Art and No Doubt. I have vague thoughts. I remember the trailer was just behind the stage. You just walk from the trailer. It's like they're wrapping up their set. Go up there now, make another announcement.
Was this your first giant gig? It had to be.
Yeah.
6 to 9 months into your career.
I mean, Max, I don't know if there's a date on this thing or you know what the date is in 96. And I don't
Saturday,
know.
May 25th.
Oh,
End of May.
it had to be among the first.
I think I may have started Loveline at the end of 95, maybe. So I think.
Do you remember being terrified? I mean, this is
no,
huge.
No, I was never. I was never, as long as they gave me a mic and I didn't have to read a teleprompter or read a bunch of stuff back then, as long as I could just sort of free-form it and there was a crowd, I
was happy to be there.
I felt comfortable. Well, it was funny because I never thought about this, but back when I was in high school, they'd put on these weird lunchtime theatrics, they do these things, student union sponsored so-and-so guy, kung fu artist, like comes down out into the quad and he's got his sword out and he's going to chop an apple in half, or somebody's going to stack cups or something. And for some reason, I became the sort of de facto MC. So they would hand me the mic and everyone would be eating lunch in the quad. And I'd go, all right, come on, everybody. Drop those sandwiches, gather around. And, there'd be an act that I'd bring up. And I probably did a little shtick,
Yeah.
And so somewhere in my head, I got kind of used to just standing in front of this little partisan festival crowd
barking.
with my mic in my hand, kind of freestyling it. And so I had this bass I could kind of one off of. Famously, I've told it before, but it's been a while. I do harken back on going up and doing those events. And later on, probably in that year when we did, Drew and I were called out to, we had like a 51 share in like Bakersfield or Sacramento or some place that was somewhere between here and San Francisco. Oh God,
Fresno, Modesto.
No, I think it was San Luis Obispo. San Luis Obispo.
Dune buggy country.
We had some sort of crazy number at night, insane. More than half the radios that were listening at 10 p.m. were listening to Loveline. And they brought me and Drew out there to another one of these Irvine Meadow type, Weenie Rose type things. They got big bands and all that kind of stuff. And I've told you this, but it was funny. So I could probably give the date because Drew wanted to bring his kids, and his kids are 28, 29 now, his triplets, and they were 5 or 6 at the time. So it was
99-ish.
back in that, probably before, but right around in there. And Drew was like, let's go out on stage and then let's give my kids a thrill by bringing them out. Now, people have to picture Drew's triplets when they were 5, 6 years old. There were 3 of the cutest blonde kids you've ever seen in your life. Cherubic, Drewbic. And they were blonde and blue-eyed and little pixies. And we got out there and, Drew was like, let's give my kids a thrill. We're going to bring them out in front of this. It was an amphitheater. It was a wall. It was a wall of humanity. And so Drew and I got out there and we're talking about whatever band we're bringing out. And then at some point, Drew's like, go, do it. It's like, oh, we have a special guest. Now, again, the bands that were playing were your Corns and your Real Big Fish and these, some hard edge punky kind of 90s bands. And I said, oh, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a special treat for you tonight. I want you to put your hands together. We got a surprise appearance from the band, Hanson. And they all rolled out. And the entire... Off the stage, fag! They all booed. I mean, a wall. It was a wall. I just said Hanson in front of a group that was there to see Korn. And they all reflexively booed in unison. But as Drew's kids were walking out, who were 5.5 and had zero context for anything other than they just walked onto stage, and it was a wall of boos and hisses. And Drew was pissed. But
Do you remember the kids just looking confused?
Yeah, they're like standing there next to Drew. Oh, die, And, the crowd was drunk and there to see Korn. And it didn't go over the way I thought. I thought it would be a funny joke, but I didn't know the audience would react that way. And they, of course, were damaged and scarred. But off the stage, fag! It was 13,000 of that. Oh, boy. But back to the Edgefest. So I was there. I was there to bring everyone out. And I just remember everyone chanting Korn every time I went out there. And that's when I kind of realized, oh, Korn's a big deal. Like they were in sort of Korn mania. The other thing I recall is somebody did throw a miniature Jägermeister bottle at me, the glass kind, the traveler kind. But this was Jaeger, man. It chucked that thing from 25 yards back and it just sailed past my head. And I remember thinking, God, that could cause some damage.
Thinking rock and roll.
Yeah, if that caught you right. And then my other thought that I remember is I brought out Iggy Pop, and Iggy Pop had his shirt off.
Sure.
And
As one does.
he charged onto stage, and he almost knocked me over. He just ran right into me. That's punk rock. So,
Did his brute force almost knock you over, or the musk of Iggy Pop knock you over?
I don't. It was such a drive-by. I don't remember the Musk part. And he's probably
I'm profiling.
137 pounds.
He has
like,
negative 2% body fat.
Yeah.
yeah, just sopping wet. He's 140 pounds. So he just banged into me, grabbed the mic, and started right in. And you're right. Iggy was having a resurgence at that point. How old is Iggy Pop? I mean, he's 75.
50.
I mean, can't be.
He's 74.
Yeah.
Can't be young anymore. All right. So there were thoughts of Edgefest. Also, we have an update on the Wii Spa situation.
Boy, do we.
I also have this thought. It's not going to take very long, but if you work in Hollywood, you will hear the term Greeked out. We got to Greek out. If you're drinking a can of soda, they'll put a piece of gaffer's tape over it on camera to Greek it out. They'll also Greek it out like, if they're doing Survivor and somebody's nutsack pulls out of their swim trunks while they're doing an interview, they'll just Greek it out, what they call it, Greek it out.
I didn't know that's,
out.
yeah, I didn't know
Blur it
that's
out.
what it was called.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that either, actually.
Oh, you know Greeked out?
No, never heard that.
Pixelated.
Oh, we had, who came in here and said, should we Greek
Rick
out?
Overton, when he was asking, should I Greek out this water bottle, to take
I missed
off
that.
the
Is
that
label?
off air?
For
I don't
camera.
remember. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fairly common term. Greek out this label, Greek out that body part that's showing.
Are we allowed to say that?
Greek out?
Yeah.
Well, I was Greek out. Freak out. I was thinking. Did she say freak out?
Did he?
Freak out. Yeah, if you say Greek when he's saying it, it'll sound like he said Greek out. So I was thinking like Greek out, like where's it?
Yeah.
What's the origins? And then I asked Chris, is it spelled the same as Greek, like ancient Greeks,
Right.
It's spelled the same. And then I thought, wait a minute. These guys wrestled in the nude, the Greeks.
Oh, yeah.
Famous for wrestling.
That's right.
In front of big crowds, naked. It's a weird place to have the cover up.
Yeah, it feels like the
thought.
opposite. Like you let it all out.
Yeah, Greek out sounds like you'd pull your junk out of your
Going,
shorts.
Yeah, going skinny dip. I'm going to Greek out in
Yeah,
the
of
pool.
course.
Yeah, like they'll go, be like, oh, going commando style in
Yeah,
those shorts.
I'm Greeking out.
Well, I'm going commando to the pool, and then
And
I'm
then
Greeking.
Greek.
Then I'm Greeking out. Let my Greek flag fly. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out where the hell did we get Greek out, and then we have the Greeks fighting in the nude. All right. Now, update on Wii Spa. A lot of theories, a lot of controversy. Story. I think the baseline is it's about 2 months old now, maybe 2.5. Guy goes into the spa in Wilshire. It's a Korean spa.
Yeah. That's separated by gender.
Goes in, turns left, heads to the ladies' side. At some point, a woman of color who's animated comes out, starts yelling at the poor guy behind the counter. The guy behind the counter is going, well, what are you going to do? It's policy. And then there's a big brouhaha, and then there's a fight with Antifa the next day. And then
protest, yeah.
nobody can find the guy who went in there. Gina had some speculation
Yeah.
about not existing.
It's a very like picture it didn't happen. If we don't have a name or a picture, how are we to just assume that this really happened?
I get most of my information from people's responses to things. Like I say all the time, if any of us, if there was a thing where we went to Gina's wedding, and then
North Bay.
at some point they found the woman who cleans the house or a child or a family member, and they were like drowned in the bathtub. And then at some point, the press and LAPD was accusing you of murdering this person. You wouldn't be like, you're going to have to talk to my lawyer, and you probably wouldn't be like,
get a warrant.
You know what? I've never been violent toward, you'd be like, you fucking guys, I was at a wedding. This is insane. I will sue all you. This is nuts. Right. How dare you? Fuck you. We're going to figure this out in 10 seconds. Like, you wouldn't be that kind of OJ kind of, thing. And I see the reaction to this is the crazy black lady came out of the women's side. She was very animated. She was like motivated and animated. And the guy behind the counter wasn't going, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. The guy behind the counter was going, we have a policy and blah, blah, blah. So I was judging its authenticity on that guy. He had a mask on, so it was like a little muffled, but he was going, hey, man, I don't set the rules. He wasn't going, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no dudes in there. That's what I was basing it on. But anyway, Brian had a little bit of a jackass theme going to his.
Typical for me.
But I still didn't.
Admittedly, I thought it was a bit of a long shot, but I was like, there's a chance this is just someone who's a provocateur is the word I use. Someone who went in to prove a point.
People did tweet us after that. There is a dude who does that kind of thing, like in LA. So you never.
Well, they found, I was going with Occam's razor, which Brian lent me.
That's right.
Brian usually goes with Occam, but he gave it to me, and I got to use the simplest, which was...
You bet on the Patriots, circa a couple years ago. I bet on the Jaguars.
Yes. He goes in... anyway, I think he's in that job, but here's and there's a picture of him.
Oh.
He doesn't...
And a rap sheet.
Doesn't resemble anyone who's transitioning, but there's a better picture of him that just... He looks like a dude. But go ahead. This was in the New York Post.
Yeah, written by Andy No. In June, a group of women complained that a person who was identified as a female exposed their penis at the Wii Spa in Los Angeles. The incident led to months of sometimes violent protests, with media outlets declaring it an example of bias against the transgendered, or even that it didn't happen. Slate said it was a transphobic hoax. But on Monday, charges of indecent exposure were discreetly filed against a serial sex offender for the Wii Spa incident following an investigation by the Los Angeles PD. Sources with knowledge of the case say that 4 women and a minor girl came forward to allege that Darren A.G. Merriger was partially erect in the women's section of Wii Spa. He's also facing multiple felony charges of indecent exposure over a separate incident in Los Angeles. He spoke exclusively to the Post, denies the allegations, and said that she is actually the victim of transphobic harassment. Most of the stuff we've been through already.
All right.
Currently facing... the suspect, Darren A.G. Merriger, is currently facing several felony charges, including indecent exposure.
From a previous
event. In fact, down here it gets interesting. It says that the LAPD have confirmed a few this week a warrant issued. The LAPD had this guy in 2018, and they put out a
flyer
for like indecent exposure
for exactly this thing.
I think
he would go into the women's rooms and spas and expose his erect penis.
If I read this correctly, I also read that there was like a theft and like B&E charge for like art theft or something. I mean, this guy has range.
Yeah, he's a nut. I don't know if he looks at himself as a woman or not.
Well.
Yes.
To that exact point, I read the whole article too. Here's a question for Garagos next time you do Reasonable Doubt. In the article to us, it says the writer says this person is legally a woman. How then could they
because of a law passed in California?
Wait, how can you be charged with indecent exposure if you're legally a woman?
Well, this was
I'm sure there's some loophole. I'm just wondering. Oh, that's a good question.
I think in the Times article from back when it said something like, he pulled out his penis, his phallus or something, which resembled a male penis. Like, they use it's somewhere in that Times article. You got to find it. It's an op-ed. We did it on the air. I laughed about the fucking person. This is the problem with language. This is So if you identify as a woman, then you're a woman. Well, according to California law, then you can have all your male parts identify as a woman and then go to the woman's and show it. And then why should you be arrested? That's the problem with the law.
Unless there's some masturbating going on. In that case,
it's really, that point is moot because law enforcement sources revealed that Merriger is a Tier 1 registered sex offender with 2 prior convictions of indecent exposure stemming from incidents in 2002 and 2003 in California. In 2008, she was convicted for failing to register as a sex offender. So whether or not she identifies as a woman or not doesn't matter. We have a sex offender exposing himself to a young child.
But you do understand when you're writing this article and you go, she went into the women's locker room and then she sat in the hot tub and then you're like, well, then throw out all, what the problem? The problem is we're calling a guy with dick and balls she. That's the problem.
Sure.
That's the problem. Now, look, I totally believe you can become a she, but for the sake of sanity and humanity, we're going to have to start assigning that designation to people who have undergone that surgery. Otherwise, there'll be zero way to police this. It's impossible. This is it's no different than the service pets. It's no different than, I actually wrote down how many people, because one of the stations I spoke to, and we can put this up, but one of the stations we spoke. Well, I'll tell you what. Anyway, I'll say it and then I'll circle back to something someone discovered on Loveline a million years ago, which is like, what is there in places where marijuana is illegal or hasn't been decriminalized here? More fake doctor's notes giving marijuana to patients who don't have leukemia or are recovering from radiation,
glaucoma,
just an actual people in one pot versus fake guide dog or service dog things from people who want to travel with their dogs. But
at its peak, it had to have been marijuana, right?
One would think,
one would hope.
Although people can get weed, traditionally they have, where you can't get the service dog authentication or certification from.
Right.
You can't make that. You can't buy that at the park.
And you want to carry your weed with impunity. You don't want to hide in the shadows.
So anyway, but look, it's the service dog thing, which is once everyone anoints their own dog a service dog and thus can travel on the plane, then how can we police dogs getting onto an airplane? And once anybody can anoint themselves a she and or a he, minus any surgeries or any hormone therapies or any of that, then how would one begin to police this? It's not policeable, and then you're going to have this. And of course, the second something like this comes into play, just like the service dog thing, everyone's going to exploit it immediately. I mean, look at handicap license plates or handicap placards, people parking up front of the Costco. I mean, what percentage of people are legitimately disabled versus got hold of one of those placards and hung it up, and that's policed.
But I also think of it the other way. Like, remember we were talking about, I can't remember her name, but the weightlifter, the bodybuilder at the Olympics, and I was kind of going, oh God, I hope she doesn't take the gold, because then there's sort of an argument for it. And on the other side of that coin, it's like, yes, there could definitely be dudes that'll be doing dumb shit like this, but also it's like, or there's just like you say, a tiny fraction of the community that's trans, that's just been kind of living their life and been good, and now everyone thinks they're a pervert and they're a degenerate, and they've been fine.
This seems like even the smaller outlier, like you're talking about, the actual pervert and degenerate.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Now it's like, well, see, is that a woman? Is that? I'm like, most people, I think, if they've been in this case, they've just been living their lives. They're not this dude. dude.
Well, the way, look, here's the way I look at it. If you would like to identify as a woman, but I will spread this out to all facets of life. Like if you'd say, I'd like to become a woman, I would like to think of myself as a woman. I would like society to think of me as a woman.
Grab that.
And then you go,
Gina, please.
fine, then undergo reassignment surgery. And they go, no, I don't want to do that. I want to remain as I was, but I want people to think of me as a woman. Then I would go, that's fine. I think you could probably get friends, family, not your stepdad, co-workers, and things like that to call you by your female name and call you she, just like they do in this article. But if you get into trouble with the law, if you go to the women's side of the spa and disrobe, you will get arrested. And if you have to go to prison, you will be with males. Those are the rules. So the rules are, we will respect it. We'll call you that. We'll everything that. But if you go to the water park and you're going to use a locker room, hold your nose and go where the cocks are. And then you can go back out.
That's in the policy language.
By the way, you can go back out in a two-piece.
Yeah.
You won't be bothered. You can do what you want. We'll call you whatever you want. Drive a pink minivan. But if you cannot go into the ladies' side as well, I'm not even saying you can't get a massage or take a schwitz, but you have to do it in the male side. That doesn't feel that confining to me. Like that doesn't feel like your civil liberties are being, trampled beneath the jackbooted thug. Like that's all right. And remember, if you ever want to go whole hog and get the surgery, you will be welcome.
Go no hog.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, no
Wait
hog.
till the stitches are out. We don't want to freak out the kids.
Come on.
But you'll be welcome in the women's side.
And I mean, Elliot Page.
Right.
The 10-pack on that guy. Committed to it, and we're all in now.
Elliot Page can walk into any men's side of the locker room and do whatever he wants, but before transitioning, I think it would have raised a few eyebrows.
And if I can just say, because I was in a mood this morning because of Texas, but then it spiraled into this, and I actually had a quick exchange.
Did this help?
Yeah. No, I mean, it kind of does, actually. But I had a quick exchange with Andrew because, what Dawson just read, and then I was like, basically saying, like, why do we have to assign...
Andrew the writer.
Yes.
Sorry, for a second I made your fiance.
No.
What I thought you meant.
He was busy making, fart jokes and
Sure.
stuff. But, just like, why do we have to be so quick to assume, that this happened? Or why do we have to be so quick to, and he basically said, why do we have to be so quick to assume that this was a hoax? And that is exactly a fair point. It's right down the middle. I wanted proof. I wanted a face. I wanted a name, or I'm not just going to buy into a viral video. I'm sorry. But now we have that. And can we all, like Lance Bass being gay, can we all move forward?
I don't, there's this thing, I think, where people think people care so much about who's gay or who's trans or who's whatever. I don't think not anyone, the vast majority of people, when it comes to other people's sexuality, just kind of want to keep walking. They're not that interested in it. And they're not, especially in 2021, especially in California, no one's really interested in policing everyone. The problem is when it starts getting into the, sort of, when it gets beyond, you know what I mean? Like, have your surgery, marry whoever you want, work wherever you want, do whatever you want. But if you are that dude with your cock and balls and you go walking into the women's locker room and you drop your towel, that's where we stop. And so there's this kind of thing where it's like, oh, so you're against transgender community, or you're against, no, that. It's that act. It's that
where they draw the
thing.
line.
Before that, do whatever you want.
Right.
I think that's where most people are, but unfortunately, if you go for that, then it's like you're against the entire movement or the
Right.
whole community, and
Right.
that's what I think that's a misnomer.
I agree.
All right, we got a clip that I'll tease. We got a call. Someone wants to wish Gina best wishes for her wedding.
That's lovely.
We'll talk about that in a second. First, I'll tell you about Tommy John. Don't wear underwear on Labor Day. Wear Tommy John Apollo, Tommy John's newest and most advanced men's underwear. Made with exclusive performance-grade dry-release fabric. Keeps you drier and up to 7 degrees cooler than regular cotton alone. Soft, supportive, stretches for the perfect fit. Available in sizes 4XL and below, obviously. Tommy John doesn't have customers. They have fanatics. Over 15 million pairs sold. I'm wearing mine right now. Let's see. I'm wearing my basic black. Once you get into Tommy John, you won't go back to what you're wearing. You literally will be converted. It's the best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free. Guaranteed, right, Dawson?
For a limited time, get $25 off site-wide at TommyJohn.com/Adam during their Labor Day sale. That's TommyJohn.com/Adam for $25 off site-wide. TommyJohn.com/Adam. See site for details.
Well, somebody sent in a clip from Loveline from 24 years ago.
Oh, boy.
That had me with my crystal brain was fired up 24 years ago. It pertains to this subject, too, by the way.
Perfect.
And then also we'll talk to Gerald and Trish, who want to wish a happy wedding day. And then I have a philosophical thought about control. We'll do that right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hi, Guy. Hey, it's Rick from Tacoma. Hey, was out to dinner the other night. I ordered a large double vodka tonic. The waitress asked me if I wanted lime in that. I said, no, citrus, please. Drink comes, 4 limes, 4 lemons. I asked her why. She said, we didn't know what the term citrus meant. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
I don't know if this makes me an alcoholic, but I was thinking after my last flight, I just have to travel with cut up. Like I have to do what?
Yeah.
Remember
You're on garnish.
the guys who work at SeaWorld who train the dolphins
with the chum.
They have that little pouch.
Yeah.
No, it's got little herrings in it,
Oh,
or it's
yeah.
got little anchovy in it, or
Sure.
whatever. And they're just like they
Sardine.
click, and then they throw the sardine, and it's just like a little pouch you wear on your side, a little fanny pack.
Yeah.
Well, just do that with cut up lemon.
You're going to have to.
When I travel.
I can't be the only one to experience this. On our Alaska Airlines flight out to Hawaii, they had packet instead of lime. They had
Did they
citrus
have
packets.
Yuck.
Basically, like
Yeah.
stevia or whatever,
Yeah.
but like it was citrus. I mean, it's not great, but it's it's their version.
Somebody sent me some of those, and now this is a perfect window into my brain. Some fan who got tired of me complaining about it sent me those little packets of lemon and lime.
Great.
They're just dehydrated lemon. It's actually
okay.
Sprinkleable lime.
great.
it's good enough because the vodka soda water, you kind of make that drink because it's a low-cal way to get buzzed. And it essentially doesn't really taste like anything. But if you sprinkle a little lemon in there, it kind of brings it to life. But here's what I did. I took all those packets, and I was like, thank you. I shall travel with these. I put them into my toiletry bag. Sort of makes sense. But the toiletry bag always goes
Inside the suitcase.
in the suitcase, which goes up in the
not accessible.
overhead. And now I'm just sitting there with my backpack, and I'm not going to go take apart my suitcase. So I fucked up. But thank you, caller or fan, for sending it in. But yeah, some do, maybe Alaska, although not the last time I flew Alaska. All right. We have sent in from listener Tom, who scoured through a love line. October 1997,
Yes.
here. So we're coming on 24 years here.
Yeah, so this is you and Drew getting off the phone with a listener named Mel, who is a transsexual.
Just the name Mel. Melanie, Melvin.
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether to call him her or him. It's
Yeah,
her. It's
well,
her.
here's the thing. I was just thinking about that. When someone is transsexual or even sometimes a transvestite, you have difficulty labeling them. And you forget how much you use the term he, she, and it doesn't sound real respectful.
Right.
So I think we ought to call them they.
Because it's a he, she. I think what they wish to be considered, which is this case, it's a she. I think we had to
We ought to go with she.
Him as her.
All right, but that sounds like a little too respectful. It really does. I like to make fun of people.
They.
Adam Carolla, the tip of the woke spear.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
can say
say.
anything you want,
That's
but
right.
do not question his.
There.
Yes, do not question their power with the cause.
Yep, they. I was there with the pronouns. I was early to the pronoun party.
That's amazing.
All right, so somebody found that and sent it in. I don't know how people's minds work. I don't know if they were listening to reruns or something, but God bless you. I would have never. I would have zero recollection of saying that ever. All right, Gerald and Trish from Anaheim like to give Gina some wishes. Gerald, Trish,
Adam.
Carolla.
Hey, Adam. It's Jared and Trish from Anaheim. Hi, Gina.
Hi, how are you?
Good. We're here. I'm tending to my battered wife. Well, okay, that's a bad term.
That you really should
she's
rephrase that.
injured wife. She's got a bum knee, but just wanted to call in and wish you well for this Sunday and congratulations and all the best wishes.
You are so sweet. Now, this just in, I'm getting married this Sunday.
Yeah,
It's a few. It's a couple
weeks
of weeks.
Yeah, no, in a
I
couple
screwed it
Sundays.
up.
No, thank you,
Oh, couple-
Jared. I love you, and please
course.
give they're awesome. They're the best, and give Trish our love.
You know,
Of course.
Yes, Jared and Trish, they're the best.
well, let me decide if they're the best or not. Should you go full galooly on your wife's knee, or what? Why is it?
Skeletal lippy.
Why? Yeah.
I think it might have been me trying to stretch her out. She's got a kind of a sciatica in her hip, so I think I might have started it there with the over-exuberant stretching.
You know the cutest couples of all? You guys aren't old enough, but do you ever see old tennis couple?
Ooh.
Yes.
So they never. The woman always has one of those neoprene knee braces on, but she's wearing the tennis skirt.
Yeah, she's in uniform.
She's not
Oh, she's-
covering it up with
Dress
sweatpants.
for the occasion.
They're overly tan. They're in good shape, but they feel like they spend a little too much time in the sun. And they're there at the park in their 70s playing tennis together. We should all hope that for our
Strive.
kids and
Yes.
ourselves. We strive to be the old tennis couple.
Indeed.
There's a few of those here in Orange County.
Yeah, they're winners.
You'd like Trish. She always. I've seen her a million times. Always in like a perfect sweater and pearl matching set. I don't think she owns a pair of jeans. I've never seen her in sweats. If she saw what I was wearing right now, she'd never stop throwing up. Always in perfect hair, perfect headband, perfect pearls.
I do. Tennis is one of those. I'm gonna file tennis under fish and chips and egg salad sandwich, which is
Stuff white people like.
I've never had a bad time playing tennis.
Oh, yeah.
And you get great exercise.
True.
And in a world, when you get older, it's really just about movement. You know, you're not really about packing on the muscle. It's just like I gotta break a sweat. I gotta
Blood flow.
I gotta work up a little lather. I gotta hike up that hill or that canyon or take a long walk or some stupid stuff like that. Tennis is great. You're moving side to side, backward and forward. You're getting a sweat going, but you're distracted because you're playing a game.
Yeah.
You're out there. It's not that thing where you're on the treadmill and you're staring at the clock and 14 minutes. I'll never make it to half an hour. Like you get a good workout.
Yeah.
You play for a
Stay
couple
present.
hours. I played tennis. Anytime I played tennis, I've enjoyed myself. Never play tennis. Never. Plenty of places to play tennis.
Yeah, there's got to be a court in your neighborhood.
doable.
There is. There's no barrier to entry.
Yeah.
You need a $26 racket. You
No,
can buy
no
it on
cleats.
Amazon. There's no special anything. All you need is shorts and your tennis
Mm-hmm.
shoes and a T-shirt. Never play tennis. Great exercise. Have a lot of fun. Never do it.
All right. I
There's
smell
more
a
that affects
resolution.
that, yeah.
And I feel the same way about fish and chips and egg salad sandwiches, which is love them. Never do them. Yes?
And tennis, one of the top brands in tennis gear is Head.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. There used to be a...
I've made Trish blush saying that.
do you remember that famous T-shirt from junior high?
Uh-oh.
Big Johnson.
No?
That's before Adam's time or after Adam's time.
No, not that one. It said, and Chris, you can probably find this. It said, give me Rossignol or give me head.
What is Rossignol?
I think Rossignol made like skis or equipment or whatever.
Okay.
And head made skis and equipment too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was like, give me this brand or give me head.
That's real good.
Yeah, it's not as good as, liquor in the front, poker in the rear, but.
Or there it is. That's pretty cool. It's very vintage.
It's a cool shirt.
Yeah.
I know what everyone's getting for Christmas.
Dawson,
I would wear the shit out of that.
I could see you wearing that one. What did Rossignol? They made skis?
Yeah.
And by the way, this is just shit I saw in junior high, like the Carollas. First off, we wouldn't have owned one snow ski, not one, maybe half a ski. Like I didn't even know you could buy, like I would see them like at the sporting, I'd go to the Big Five to buy football cleats every 2 years or something. I'd walk by the ski section, but it was like, did you guys ever have this? Like we'd go the sporting goods store was big time excitement for me. So
Fuck yeah.
the
Smelled
sporting
good.
goods store, there was like, here are the places you could go to entertain yourself. You could go to the poster store. The mall had a poster store.
With the rack that you just flip up.
Yeah, I could look at the rack, could look up on the ceiling and the wall and see the. You could look, or then you could go across the mall to the pet store, and then you could look at all the puppies and kittens you were never going to own.
Thing of the past, by the way.
All right.
Yeah.
And
The
then
record store also is one of those.
record
You
store,
gotta
just
look.
go look. The pet store and the sporting goods store had their own smell, very distinct. And I'd go into the sporting goods store, once a year to buy a pair of cleats or something, but 17 times a year just to look at the hot chick on the raft box. Fell in love with the hot chick on the raft box. Sure. Always get the good-looking chicks floating on the raft.
That's your rosebud.
But every once in a while, you just walk past the case. And the one case, there was the gun counter that had all the hunting guns and stuff behind.
Rifles all just
right. And then you look down the case, I was like, binoculars. $79. Like, are you kidding me? Who comes in? Who could afford binoculars? Like binoculars and pistols and Swiss Army knives were down there.
And when you were a kid, there were plenty of sports where there's out of your purview, like archery and shit. Like, I'd go there and I'd like swing the bats. You know what I mean? Because they had 300 in variety of baseball bats. I'm like, oh, let's swing a few of these. Check out some mitts. That's all I knew about when I was 10 years old. I'm like, what do I do with this thing?
Yeah, there was the whole
What's a snowboard?
There's a ski section, the water skiing stuff, the hunting stuff, the archery stuff, and you just like look at that stuff and go, who can
What's that
afford
for?
any? Like, you can't. You could rent this stuff. You can't own it. Like, yeah. So I would see guys walking around my junior high with "Give me Rossignol, give me head" t-shirts on.
Did you have any clue what it meant for like the first 3 years?
I had no idea what Rossignol meant. I got the head part.
Sure.
What is Rossignol? They make skis, and then did Head make skis? Like Head made tennis rackets and stuff. But I think, were they two French companies or something?
Rossignol is definitely French, and it's alpine snowboard ski equipment.
And Head still makes like tennis rackets, and Head made balls or something too.
Definitely
Head
rackets.
is from Austria.
Head is from Austria.
Yeah, and
I don't know who the fuck figured that shirt out and how did it wander into Walter Reed Junior High in 1977?
actually, Head is American, but an Austrian company bought him out.
Ah, all right, Dawson. I need that shirt now.
Oh yeah, I'm into the shirt.
Yeah,
I'm just very confused by it now. I don't understand the message except for blow me. Maybe that's the message.
No, I think
Head is a company.
Do you want to ski or do you want to play tennis?
Yeah, I think they're saying I'll
either ski.
Yeah, or maybe Head made stuff that was ski related too. Like maybe they're saying give me Honda or give me Toyota. But
it is a strange T-shirt. I'm actually on board with Dawson. It would be like say like a T-shirt like give me Honda or give me Toyota. It's like all right.
This is more of a message. If this is the 80s and it's all about ski and snow equipment, it's I'm rich, suck my dick.
There you go. I like that. And now I could wear the shirt because I would have an explanation.
Right.
I'm rich.
there-
Suck my dick.
Thank you.
Head makes skiing stuff too.
Yeah, so they're saying, give me this ski or give me that ski, and in between, I get to be offensive.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
that's good.
Makes sense now.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, up Schitt's Creek or something. You can't say shit. Well, that's the family name.
Yeah, it's
We could say it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I do, maybe I don't. But that's the name of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember we didn't even know what to do with Schitt's Creek for a long time?
No, I said it in a newscast at KFI, and it was like a record needle got pulled off the record player. So,
Right.
yeah,
It's like Meet the Fockers.
right.
Right. All right. At least Fockers was not fuckers, although every time, what's her name said it with her Spanish accent, it was the same.
Alana, you back?
Yes, Alana Eubank. That's right. I miss her. All right, so we got a call up here. We got another segment to get into.
Oh, yeah.
Tom, 60, Detroit.
Hey, Adam.
Hey,
Nice to talk to you.
I'm coming to the Royal Oak Music Theater in a week and a half. You gonna be there?
I had totally forgotten about it, but I will make an effort to get up there.
How far is Royal Oak from Detroit? Is it 45, 50
Well, I'm
minutes?
south of Detroit. It's about 40 miles.
All right. It's nice there. By the way, it's not Detroit at all.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
All right. Well, I'll see you there, but
Well-
go ahead.
Well, first off, it's really nice to be able to vent to somebody with a sane perspective on the world. So it's really good to hear you talking about things. When I grew up, when I was a kid, we had the Arab oil embargo in 1973.
The oil embargo.
And I remember,
Yeah.
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 And at the time, we were all worried we were supposedly going to run out of fuel in 30 years. The president would come on, and give his annual address.
Hold on a second. Imagine me. I'm living with my mom, and now there's an oil embargo. And by the way, I already got the speech about, but every time I start the car, it costs money, honey. But Van Nuys is 4 miles from here. Yeah, but what about the belts? What about the tires? What about the CV joints? Those have to be relubricated from time to time. My mom was already into, it's way too expensive to drive. Then we went on gas rationing.
Oh, the best day of her life.
Yeah, I know. Then it was, by the way, now that we're on gas rationing, it had like odd, even numbers on your license plate to see who got to get gas on which days. But it's also like, I'm a car guy, even though I'm 9, and then there's like, there's going to be no fuel for you. Like, your first car is going to be a moped. Like, there will not be fuel. It's, it's 1973. We have no fuel. You think we're going to have fuel in 1981? I don't think so.
You can pull the string, you can get as far as the windup will go.
Right. Tom, 60, sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, what I found really ironic was the government, throughout this 50 years has been pushing alternative energy. They've had the windmills and the solar cells and we've got to do something about the fact we're going to run out of fossil fuel. This is pre-global warming hysteria.
Right.
But the one thing they could have done that was free energy would have been to time the traffic lights. And since 1973, I've been waiting for traffic lights to be timed, and it's a no-brainer. It's like, it's not going to cost anybody. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you fuel. And they can't even get that little item correct.
Well, I want to give some praise where praise. I want to give the devil their due. Brian, you probably run into this. Gina's probably seen it. I see it too. Somebody brought it up. I'll give some praise and then I'll get angry, which is getting on the 5 freeway, major freeway behind us. The 5 freeway, when you get on heading toward downtown or the zoo, or depending if you've got to get to Pasadena, you hop on it for a block and then, south. They had a stop sign at the top. It's a half circle with a stop sign at the top. And except for you had your own lane, like you could zipper in. So everyone would come to a stop. of course, the traffic, depending on what time you try to hop on, but if you try to hop on at 3:30, 4, 5 o'clock, the traffic spilled all the way back down the ramp and onto Flower or Western or whatever the main street was there. And then good luck merging because you've come to a complete stop.
Yeah.
And now cars are coming at 50 miles an hour down and you're trying to zipper in, but you're at a stop. Yeah. At some point, somebody, and this is the first time I've ever seen any attempt to do this. If you look at it now, there is no stop sign.
Oh,
there's
gone?
a merge.
Oh,
There's a yellow merge.
tov.
Which is good, but it also begs the question, why was there a stop sign there for 41 years? And don't we know how things work? Like, take all the fucking stop signs down and put the zipper merge. And by the way, what if, hold on. You know, I talk about like, you know, we could get traffic moving in this city and every other city if we just sort of coach people up on what to do turning right. Like when you can turn right, can you turn right, how you successfully turn right, blah, blah, blah. What if there was just a concentrated effort like we do with many other facets? Let's just say the city of Los Angeles put 100th the effort we've put into masking into merging. Oh. What do we want? This is how you merge. First things first, there is a merge sign. Look for it. Don't stop. I see a lot of people on the 5 where you get off on the other end, people come to a stop. Like, that's not a stop. It's a merge. So first off, merge means pick it up.
Well, you're getting on the freeway. Your speed should never decrease.
Right, and zipper it in. And A, don't stop. B, this is what a merge. Merge means you got a lane. You get not forever, not going to take you to your house, but you get it for a safe distance, and you get in and you put your blinker on and you accelerate and you look in your mirror and you merge. Like, what if we just gave everyone a big fat tutorial on what to do with a red light turning right and what to do with a merge? Like, just utopia. Merge. It'd be a fucking utopia. It's information. People don't know it. When in doubt, everyone stops. Like, that's kind of the problem.
Yeah.
Just merge it. Just zipper it in.
That's good.
Get some sort of celebrity spokeshole to get up there and talk about merging. Maybe we get the aforementioned Caitlyn Jenner up in there. Or was I just thinking about Caitlyn?
Not merging.
Why not?
Not merging safely.
I used to be this. They show, the Wheaties box, and now I'm this. I merge the cock and balls into a pussy.
I changed lanes very effectively.
Yes. Let's not focus on PCH, but I get it. All right.
Yeah, it's the Zip It campaign.
Yeah. Hey, Tom?
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. I decided he was satisfied. All right, we got, did you cook something up for us?
Yeah, you guys hungry?
Yes, I am.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing that right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do
I
it
think
now.
Ryan's helping me. 1 second.
You're going to heat up some
I
food?
think he did it.
She could not stop beating.
Hey, Chris.
The sugar and the grains.
It's a good
Then
song.
our friend Betty helped
I
her
get a good mood over here.
lose the weight she gained.
Everyone loves this song. There's no one who doesn't
Now
like
she's
this song.
cooking healthy meals at night, and ever since
Blue
then,
Suede,
her clothes
I think,
on
sings this song.
tight. It's time for Eat Your Feelings. Do some healthy eating with Gina's recipe.
Right on time.
Yeah, nice.
You might get a knife, too.
All right.
All right. I was very excited about this recipe. This is from Home Chef. And this was like some good old-fashioned, like American 50s pork chop action. This is pork chop with a smothered mushroom gravy.
Tell Ryan I need a knife. in
Ryan,
order to
knives.
Pull
Think so.
this one off.
I
Yes.
think he's washing one.
Oh, okay.
And I was so excited about
He's
this.
washing the studio knife.
He's coming in. Because the secret word for this recipe, umami. Isn't it so umami? I don't know how else to describe it. So good. Please don't. It's like he's doing an axe throw in here.
He's running
Thank
with
you,
a knife.
Ryan. It's so like as we say in Yiddish, it's geschmacht, it's pucky, it's just great.
Ryan did a funny thing, which is he ran with the knife, not because he's a thrill seeker, but because I'm the boss man.
Yeah.
And then as he presented me the knife, he extended his arm fully and almost bowed as he was doing it. And I like both of those actions, but he presented the blade to me.
He sure did.
See, if you wanted to complete the trifecta,
maybe over the arm.
Present the handle, right.
Also, he should not have turned his back to you as he walked out.
No, you know why? That's how you get stabbed in the back.
That's exacly right.
You gave me my knife first, which is really egregious.
Yeah.
Really egregious.
I think what we learned from this is Ryan needs to be fired.
Who was Ryan?
So this was just, and it's a little overcooked because we just reheated it, but it was so good. The family loved it. Now, the side that it came with was zucchini and peas. I have a couple of boys in my house who aren't a fan of peas, so I subbed an eggplant. Which,
do not marry him. Peas are awesome.
I mean, I'm fine with them. They're a little starchy for keto.
No.
Okay.
Peas are weird.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like peas, and I bring that up all the time. I've never really gotten a good explanation.
Is it a texture thing?
It's everything, by the way, I don't like usually comes down to a texture thing.
The popping?
Whatever it is, but if we're going by texture, you have to drop it by the time you're 9.5. Because
Okay, so the kid has
You
time.
cannot keep texture going into your 40s. You can't do that.
Well, yeah, that's mostly why I don't like hard-boiled eggs. But I hear you. So I did eggplant and zucchini, and it's just like a really lovely, like, nice sit down. We all, we sit down, we had our pork chops and veggies, and I was so impressed. This featured by Home Chef another demi-glace, which I've become a huge fan of.
You bring Andy his slippers?
Of course.
This is a very 50s dinner.
And his bubble pipe. It was really easy. I know pork chops can feel a little intimidating because it's not something people make all the time. This was so easy. You literally just pat it dry. You put the seasoning salt on both sides, and you throw it on the throw it on the stove for
Very
5 minutes.
Very
yeah,
yummy. Really good.
I really want to thank them. This was a hit.
I want this at your wedding.
Oh shit! It might be too late.
Just for me though. Okay. Everyone else can eat whatever they want.
We did order something called the Baron of Beef, which we are very excited to find out exactly what that is.
Adam's nickname.
But yeah, thank you, Home Chef. This was they knocked it out of the park with this. The family loved it, and I'm glad you guys did too.
Eat your feelings. Do some healthy eating.
Yeah, it's good.
With Gina's recipe.
Yeah, brought to you by Home Chef, and you can visit homechef.com/Adam for $90 off for your first month. So do not screw that up. All right. Well, we've eaten, and now we're going to drinking.
You got your base.
I got my base set. We got Dan Dunn out there. We're going to do a little spiked seltzer, hard seltzer, I think some people call it. We'll do
Kids are calling it these days. Yeah.
We'll do a little taste off with all these brands right after this.
Do you want to be a part of Adam's next book?
Sometimes I do.
Submit your questions for Ask an Asshole by emailing them to askhole@adamcarolla.com. Please include your name, age, and location. Ask about any topic you need the Ace Man's advice or answers on. That's ASKHOLE@adamcarolla.com.
Well, Dan Dunn is here, journalist and spirit expert, podcast, What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn. He's had a lot of big names on that show. And Dan, I didn't recognize you without your VR goggles on. There you are.
I've given up on that, by the way. I'm back to the laptop.
No, you know what you're doing with jacking off, Dan?
Yes.
You're doing what Rocky did in Rocky 4, I think, where it's like no more going to the posh gym and living in the mansion,
Get
man.
back to nature.
Yeah.
Back to where you started.
Yeah, or even 3, where he got back to the old gym.
That's 3.
That's 3, where
he
hit
lost the eye of the tiger.
Yeah, had to get back to the streets. You know what I mean? No more Lamborghinis and home theaters. You got to get back to the street.
Apollo,
you know what I mean?
I forgot where you came from, man.
You're talking about lingerie magazines. Went back to that.
Sears
now
catalog.
Really back to the old school.
The VR technology and all that. Too much. It's time to get back to basics.
Wrapped boxes.
Go back to the Sears catalog you keep out in the woods.
I swear to God, this is a thought that I just had while you were talking. I'm like, I haven't jerked off all week.
What?
I just realized that, and it's late in the week.
Oh, let me slide back.
Late in the week. Well, I'm just saying. I start to get a little. If I sound tense today,
That's
I'm
why.
saying why. I've been so busy researching hard seltzer.
Wow.
How's that for a segue? Me
Yeah.
jacking off to hard seltzer. Yeah. 'cause
I'm
what's-
curious. Yeah, tell us the story of hard
Well,
seltzer.
it's it's Labor Day weekend, right? Holiday weekend. Everybody's gonna be drinking, and I think hard seltzer, There's no way around it. Hard seltzer as a category has just blown the hell up. Okay, in 2018, it did $500 million in 2018. This year, it's going to do $4.5 billion.
Wow.
The category, and look, we're talking about flavored, bubbly.
Yeah.
Carbonated water.
What's
That's
not to
basically
like?
what we're talking about here.
Can I ask this with the hard seltzer?
Sure.
How much of that? So there's a few things. You know, when I was growing up, you couldn't drink a beer on the beach because you could recognize a Budweiser can or a Coors can from outer space. And then people started like dropping them in Coca-Cola sleeves, and there was all this sort of it was basically, you know, flask, but it wasn't a flask, it was a sheath, you know, any way to fool the lifeguards and the man
Elaborate
and
methods.
stuff like that. It has struck me that there are so many different brands of hard seltzer. You take hard seltzer, you take all the various IPAs and microbrews and everything else in a can, and then the 5,000 water selections in crazy cans
LaCroix
and
bubbly.
energy drinks
Yeah.
in crazy cans. You as a cop cannot pass by some guy in flip-flops walking down the Strand anymore and screech the brakes on. You have no idea what's in that person's hand. And the hard seltzers, not only can you kind of walk with impunity, because again, could be a bubbly water, could be an energy drink, you can spike them quite easily and kick them above the 5% or the 4.9.
Yeah, bathtub style.
So here's the scenario. You're walking down to the beach, you got the house over here, walking, you're meeting friends or whatever. You don't want to bring the cooler and the whole thing. You want to nurse it, catch a buzz. You can't really take a beer and dump vodka into the top of the beer. You know, you want to catch a little beer buzz, you're going to be bringing some beers down to the beach. And also, you're pretty spottable down on the sand and stuff. Or you're bringing a bottle of wine or whatever it is. The spike seltzer, man, you can take one of those, take a few hits off it, top it off with a little vodka, take your walk and nurse that can, and you're good.
Absolutely.
So
And
I wonder if there's some of that involved.
Well, I think
with
there's
this.
certainly a part of it. I mean, so first off, if you want to go a little history here, you could kind of maybe trace it back to 1994 when Coors introduced a product we all know called Zima.
Yeah, it tastes
And
like candy.
Basically, they were taking their lowest quality lager, filtering it through charcoal to make it clear, and then they added some citrus flavors to make it palatable. What's crazy is what Coors didn't expect was all the ridicule they were going to get, and Zima was basically billed as like a girly
It was a
drink
joke.
back when you could say girly drink.
Right.
And David Letterman made it a running punchline, Zima, and so Zima just didn't happen. So then, now again, that was a fermented from malt beverage.
That's a malt
That's a
beverage.
malt beverage Zima. So now the guy perhaps most responsible for where we are today is a Canadian billionaire. His name's Anthony Von Mandel. In 1996, he introduced Mike's Hard Lemonade. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Which was kind of the first product that wasn't a beer, and maybe it was the name, but guys were drinking Mike's Hard Lemonade. That product had staying power. It's still around today. But in 2016 is when he really changed everything. In 2016, he launched White Claw.
Right.
White Claw.
This guy's an enemy.
Yeah.
This
White
guy's
Claw
a
did not
maniac.
take off right away. It took about 3 years, but it's exactly
Really?
what Adam was talking about. In the summer of 2019, White Claw combined with a massive amount of social media push, and the whole thing they were selling is what you were talking about. I'm on the beach, I got my White Claw, I'm at my party, I'm not putting on weight. I mean, let's face it, that's what drives the hard seltzer category.
There's a low-cal
is
aspect
the
to it,
low-cal
yeah.
health. You can't say it's healthy, but it's healthier. It's healthier than like, hey, let's go to the beach and drink an IPA. No,
Well,
let's
it's
drink this.
yeah.
And
It's,
so I'm going to
it's
pass some of this-
calories, but it's carbs
Right.
too,
Yeah.
which you're trying to avoid as well. You skip past the whole tequila chapter. I
my
emailed you
God.
last
Yeah, we're
night
straight
drunk.
off ice. Come on, man.
I'm passing around a White Claw Mango right now. There you go. We'll just try that as sort of our foundational drink. I brought along 4 alternatives, probably ones that you might not have heard about before that I'm going to bring around. Press, Flying Embers, Amass, and Nico are going to be the ones that we're going to try.
And
now,
I brought Bravado.
And you brought Bravado, that's right. Now I'm going to tell you this about the category right now. Almost 70% of the market, of the hard seltzer market, is controlled by 2 brands. The one we're trying right now, White Claw, is the #1 hard seltzer brand in the world, followed by Truly. And Truly is owned by Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams.
Oh,
Truly,
sorry,
right?
I was looking. Coaster me, Brian. This table's going to get
cheers
jacked
to
up.
this. We're
Cheers.
trying the White Claw
Cheers.
Mango, and this will be our sort of baseline right here.
All right, and I should say, and Dan should say, 100 calories and 5% alcohol, because people want the low calories, high alcohol.
High
That's
buzz.
kind of what we're looking for
It's
here.
the convergence of health, wellness, and convenience, I think, is what's really driving this category. Now, another thing that you might not think about that's also driving it, taxes. Tax policy is a big reason why seltzers, White Claw, so popular. They're taxed like beer. Even though, as opposed to liquor, spirits. So basically, what you're talking about here is it's like a vodka soda, is what you're talking about. If you took the flavoring out, that's what it. But they're not taxed like a spirit. They're taxed like beer, which is taxed lower. Spirits are taxed higher, ostensibly because you get more. They cause more problems.
Right.
Hard liquor causes more problems. They tax them higher. The idea being that people will drink less. So if this was taxed like a spirit, it would be about $2 more. White Claw would be about $2 more in New York and Los Angeles than a 6-pack than it is now, because it's taxed lower. So that's another big thing that's driving this category. And they're saying they expect sometime in the next 4 years, this will surpass $8 billion in sales a year.
I know you did this to clear the path, set the table, have a baseline. That's one of the worst things you've ever unleashed.
The White Claw?
That's a really
The White Claw
horrible.
Mango?
to compare to Snoop Dogg's vodka.
Okay, I'm going to say this.
Dude, that must be the bottom 2.
Indago.
I'm going to say this though. I'm going to disagree with you on. I'm not a big White Claw guy. It's not. But to me, if I'm sitting outside and it's hot and this is fine.
This is good pool party drinking,
right, Gina? What do you think, Adam? I mean, it's fine.
It's got a decent note to it if you inhale as it's going in, and then once you taste it, it sort of is what it is, which is, well, you didn't want a lot of calories, did you? And you didn't want a lot of whatever, and you didn't want to, we couldn't put a bunch of sweetener, and and it's like, but it's like, I feel like if you want 5%, you don't want a bunch of calories, you don't want a bunch of carbs, it'll do. But I feel like there's going to be other offerings in the hard seltzer department that we will enjoy more than this.
I'm guessing.
I would think so. And that's why I brought them in, is because part of what's happening now is everybody's getting in the game, and there's so many out there, and I've tried a lot over the last couple of weeks, and these are some of the ones that I kind of fell in love with.
Are there craft seltzers? There must be at this point.
Yeah, we're going to have some right now.
Okay, I didn't know if they're all being produced by, established breweries or distilleries or whatever.
This one we're going to have now is called Press. We're going to try, Adam wanted to try all the same flavors. They come in a bunch of different flavors.
Well, I wanted to, I was trying to keep a little apples to apples thing where they had some of the general, because some people just go, I don't like strawberries, I don't like this one, but it didn't mean it's not a better
What's the
seltzer.
thing you don't like, Brian? There's something you don't like. Grapefruit. That's right. We have one here.
My favorite.
Press was founded in 2015 by a woman from the Midwest named Amy Wahlberg. It is the only seltzer brand founded and still owned by a woman. And this is a top 10 in the category.
I liked it, and then he said it was owned by a woman.
Now it's bitter.
I think, Dan, sorry, a common question is going to be like maybe, I don't know if you know off the top of your head, like calorie count, alcohol by volumes, this?
It's on the
It's probably around 100. Yeah, it's probably about 90 to 100 calories tends to be the
Brian, I got to tell
the norm
you, of
here.
all people, it's always on the can if it's something they're selling commercially.
And what flavor is this?
This is,
boy.
what do we got?
Hibiscus?
Blackberry hibiscus.
Oh, okay.
This is about $19.99 for a 12-pack. So it's very affordable, and this is delicious.
Oh, that's enjoyable.
I
It is,
like
right?
this.
Yeah.
It's now it's 4%, which is not 5%, which is it's 4%, it's 5%,
it's like a
but it's
Budweiser.
20% less.
No.
I mean, it's fine. I'm just saying, you're looking for a bang for your buck.
You're explaining to me about how the calories are always.
No, I said alcohol and calories always okay. The alcohol's right in front.
I thought I saw.
The calories, they have to do it
110.
somewhere, don't they?
110.
110.
All right, so for me,
Maybe on the box, the 12-pack box.
yeah, I don't know what the
is good.
laws are, but I feel like it's on every can. Well, the alcohol's on it. Anyway, maybe it's on the box. Okay, so to me, you're down 20% in the alcohol and up a skosh in the calories. Not that 10 calories makes a difference, but my feeling is if all things were equal, I'd take the one that had a little more alcohol and a little less calories as long as we're
But
doing
don't you? I feel like the flavor on this is way more. The fruit. I think the fruit really comes out in this.
Blackberry hibiscus.
This is delicious.
They also the other flavors. They have grapefruit, cardamom, which you would not like, Brian, and they have lime lemongrass, which is one that probably my favorite that I've had is the lime lemongrass. It's won a bunch of awards. I just think it's crisp. It's got this, it's
good. I feel like it could be a little more carbonated. Is that just me? It feels a little light in the carbony department. No, I'm not seeing a lot of bubbles.
I like it. This is, you said she's from the Midwest.
From the Midwest.
That's perfect because this is, I'm tasting the scenario right now. This is sitting on your front porch on a balmy Kansas evening, watching the fireflies, sipping something that's a little different than what you're used to. The hibiscus. I love this.
Yeah, we get it. You're from Kansas.
I know, but
It's a girl, man. I
you
get
guys
it.
are bitches.
Well, look,
This is good.
It actually matters to me that is because this is such a like the beer world, which this kind of falls under that purview, is all men. It's just I mean, even the spirits world, the wine world, women have made a lot of inroads. Not here, so I think that's matters. And this one's easy to get. It's Target, Walmart. That seems to be the problem with some of these things. Is people are like, where do you get it? Fresh Victor, our mixers that everybody loves. They go, where do I find it? Everybody's still bothering me. You know what? Go to their fucking website, okay? Leave me alone.
And also, I mean, the problem is the weight when you ship a case of this. You go like, I'm going to order it online. It's
this
like
is
ordering a bench.
You can get this Total
It's
Wine,
heavy,
Whole Food, Costco has it. So,
yeah,
okay,
it's good.
I like the press. Now let's go on to Flying Embers. Now, Flying Embers is one that I fell in love with. This one, I got to tell you right now. We're gonna do what flavor? We're gonna do Black Cherry Rose, which Adam chose this one.
I know a girl.
I like black cherry.
All right, I like Black Cherry. Let's do that. I'm gonna pour it in here. Okay, so Flying Embers was founded in 2017
Oh, it's pink inside.
by a guy named Bill Moses. He worked with a Kavita Kombucha prior to that. This is created in Ojai, California, and where the name came from, anybody that lives in California will know, where did they come up with Flying Embers?
Wildfires.
What do you think was happening when there was fires up there and ripped apart, and that's where the names came from. They donate a portion of the proceeds to 1% of all their sales go to firefighters and various organizations that fight fires here in California.
That
Their
is
headquarters.
That is dry.
Yeah,
Because
that's
we were
dry.
used to the sweet
Tart.
stuff for the last two.
Yeah, very tart.
This one advertises 0 carbs, 0 sugar.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that must be why.
But don't I just like that better? You kind of get that.
very crisp.
Yeah, you
Scared
get
to
that.
ask about the calories, but it's not on there.
135.
No, the can says 95.
95.
The one I'm holding in my hand.
Yeah, this tastes like 95. So the other one had the 135. Is that?
thought it was
or I thought it was
110,
110.
I think it was, yeah.
What do we got, Max Bada?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Where are we at with calories?
Oh, well, if on the website it said 135, but it might be a different size can, so I'm just checking.
If this matters to you, all organic ingredients, no sugar.
Ooh.
Sorry,
yeah.
what is this one in the alcohol in the calories?
What do you got
figure it
there,
out?
I'm looking. 5% alcohol.
Oh, look at
Better.
it.
We're
5
back.
calories, 0
There we go.
0 carbs, 0 sugar.
And I'm pretty sure they're all 0 carb, I think. But I don't know. But the calories, 90, what'd you say?
95.
Is this Black Cherry Rose or Black Cherry Rosé? Because it
bad.
kind of has it's like a rosé. It has that vibe.
It's just all sparkling rosé.
Oh,
All right,
So
I
I'll just
found
act
it.
like I'm drinking when
Okay,
you ask the questions I
perfect.
don't know. What?
This particular can that you have is 95 calories.
Look
Yeah.
at that. Now, it's $36 for a 12-pack of this. Okay, so a little bit on the higher end. You know, what you need to know about these things is they're distilled, almost all of it's made from sugar. Like they distill it from sugar cane, and that's how they make it. That's how you're getting your base spirit.
like Pruno.
I don't. I'm not a big fan of this one.
Really?
Is it too dry for what
Yeah,
you're
it's
trying to do?
Yeah, it feels a little.
See,
blah.
I like this because it's less sweet,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of like that crisp sort of flavor. But it's not everybody's thing.
It's not bad.
Brian,
It's,
what about you?
It's all right. I like the flavor of that a lot better. Just FYI, the White Claw has 2 grams of sugar, according to the whatever.
Do any of them have? I guess we'll figure out the carbs and the sugar as we go. But
This is a sparkling
does the
rosé.
sugar? I mean, Gina,
Yeah.
you probably, Brian. As long as you stop at 100 calories, does it matter if there's 2 grams of sugar or 0 sugar? Unless you have some sort of restriction.
If
you know
you're
what I mean?
depending on how strictly you're following
Yeah.
the NSNG Vinny diet, the calories almost don't matter. It's the carbs and the sugar.
Well, the carbs, right? But the alcohol has sugar. Doesn't all
No,
alcohol?
because
have
Vinny
sugar?
will pound a scotch every
Spirits
night.
are neutral.
Oh, I thought there was sugar in the spirits. All right, anyway, all right.
Not enough to register.
So what
apparently.
happens during fermentation is
I'm going to say all these are Vinny approved, though. It's not really so much about.
Yeah, this isn't Kool-Aid.
There's no difference between 110 and 105.
Yeah.
well, what
but-
happens during fermentation is the yeast converts the sugars in the starch, whatever that is. If it's a potato, if it's wheat, it's rye. It converts the sugar into alcohol. So your sugar is being turned into another thing, and that's So okay, that was it. Now we're going to go up. This is the highest end one that I brought here, and it has 110 calories. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. And this is called a Mass Botanic Hard Seltzer. And we're doing, what flavor did we choose here? Oh, that looks good. Mandarin, vanilla, and oak. Oh,
I'm very excited about this.
like the color on that. It's got a little nice sort of golden peach looking color to it.
Now, how much? The other one was $36 for a 12 pack.
Yeah. This one's 55 for a 12 pack.
Oh, wow.
But I mean,
smell it though. Smell it before you taste it.
What's $55 for something a can? It's not bad.
It smells amazing.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Good
Okay,
note,
so
yeah.
this one does not use artificial flavors, botanicals. The alcohol's fermented from organic cane sugar, what we talked about. No fake flavors or additives. This is all real stuff. 1 to 2 grams of sugar in here.
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
Is this a Mass, did you say, or was that the last one?
AMASS. You can go to mass.com. They've got this flavor. Then they have hibiscus, ginger, turmeric, and then they also have jasmine, cardamom, and raspberry. The 3 flavors they
This
offer.
has like a little bit of a
this is
like a
good.
ginger beer vibe.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it.
This is a fuller bodied flavor than the ones we've
This
had in
tastes
the
like a
past.
drink that
Yeah.
you
Yes.
made. Like you squeezed in some fresh juices, you put in a high-end vodka in there, a little seltzer.
It's nice to know that this is the most expensive.
And it's also back to you could step on this one with a shot of vodka
Oh,
before
yeah.
you
Well,
walk
you could
down
make a
to the
Moscow
pool.
Mule with
Why?
this.
Yeah.
This is like causing memories. I feel like we were having this at the barbecue. Why do I feel like we were drinking something and you kept asking if we could? Was that you, Adam? Were you going?
Can we add some alcohol to this alcohol?
to this? Or
You were telling these guys that you swore off the VR goggles. That's the conversation I remember with
That
you.
sounds familiar now.
We were drinking my rye.
That's
and
right.
you were telling these guys you're off the VR goggles. I think one of them was your sponsor. Not for booze. They have all different kinds of groups.
Sure,
Gina.
different recovery groups.
Yeah, and I can't obviously say more than
No,
that.
please
but
don't.
there's different groups for
Okay.
different situations.
Understood. And
it's
he's-
not all booze.
And he's what, 32 days clean from the VR goggles?
Well, somebody actually did ask me this at the barbecue, and I think he was serious. He said, "When you're doing it, are you using lube?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." Like, because I think we talked about it, and I said, "Of course I'm using lube." And then I'm going, Who am I talking to right now? Why am I telling this
do
guy?
I know you?
No, and then he says, "What kind do you use?"
Oh, jeez.
What kind do I use? I'm like, this is getting weird for me right now. Are you like? He's like, I'm thinking about getting them. I was like, what are you gonna
VR
get my whole
goggle.
setup? What are you stealing you're stealing my masturbatory setup right here? So I told him a different one. I told him I don't use. I use.
Yeah, it would be
Oh,
gay
wow.
if you guys used the same one
Yeah,
because
same
I
germs.
don't know VR technology, but I feel like you could run into each other somewhere in Skynet,
City.
right? Like you just run into each other. Yeah, so the spiking, it seems like a theme of mine, but I was just there for the VR part of the hot talk.
That's really good.
Yeah,
That is
it's good.
delicious.
This is amazing. It's
good.
By the way, I'm excited for this weekend. I'm excited for Labor Day weekend. It's going to be an all hard seltzer weekend for me.
All right.
Oh.
I'm
Look
in,
at you.
man.
You're
I'm in,
converted.
and you know what? I was very hesitant because I thought people were going to give me shit. They're going to be like, dude, you know, you drink whiskey, you drink this, which I still do. But man, I don't feel bad when I drink this.
You're
like
making
I
a
feel
day out of
light.
it, right?
I feel, right? Like, especially when it's hot. Like, I feel, I was drinking, well, we were drinking your whiskey at the barbecue, but I felt like I was drinking seltzers. Was I?
You were drinking.
You're drinking Nivea in a pump bottle.
I did not.
Because the guy said, what kind of lube do you use? And what Dan didn't answer, he just reached into the small of his back and he whipped out a container of Nivea and he did a weird gunslinger move, which he just spun it around and pointed at the guy. And then he
yelled dance.
He gave 2 pumps into the top of the rye.
Yeah.
And then he just did that whoosh, boom, and slid it right back into the small of his back. Yeah.
He'd know.
Once when I
You
was
really are the imbiber.
Once when I was young, I could not find any moisturizer in the whole house. Like there was none in my mom's bed, nothing. There was no moisturizer. And I used, do you remember the old tubs of Crisco? But the white, like not the
shortening.
Yeah.
Shortening.
The shortening.
Yeah.
So I got the shortening and and what I found is if you rub it really fast between your hands, the heat
It liquefies.
kind of liquefies
Yeah.
it. So just a tip out there. If you're
I
stuck
remember
on an
that part
island,
of the conversation.
all
Yeah.
you have.
So he never got your speech out of him about trying to go into this dry from the beginning.
Do we have more seltzer?
I saved that.
This thing's getting out. I'm starting to sweat here now. Okay, the final one we had now, then we have the Bravago, but I brought this Miko, which is a brand new brand, hot off the press. I mean, just come out. Okay, let me pour this here. MICO, so everybody knows, Miko. This is there's a tequila brand that already existed from the Highlands of Jalisco.
No.
I love
Right,
grapefruit.
it's got grapefruit in it. Grapefruit, tequila. It's a ready-to-drink tequila-based seltzer. It is Miko translates to monkey in Spanish.
You can smell it.
Yeah, look at that. You get that tequila right off it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Chris, we need calories.
5% ABV.
And booze.
5%
So it's all
ABV on
5%.
that. 100
All
calories. 100 calories. 5% ABV. 1 gram of sugar. They're gluten free. All it is the tequila, the sparkling water, and you don't like grapefruit, Brian.
I'm sorry, but I'm sure it's great. I just not.
I love it. It tastes like a
very
party.
light and easy to drink. And
good.
I went to the launch party for this brand in Venice. They rented it. They had a whole outdoor pop up, and it was a lot of pretty people, And I just thought, this is what hard seltzer was made for.
Yes, 100%.
Being at parties, leering at women that will never talk to me, and sipping on it and thinking maybe she'll look over.
This tastes like a rented mansion for an event.
Oh, nice. That's a good.
Yeah, this is good.
They might want to use that.
Take it.
Campaign. That's and by the way, $14.99. $14.99 for a 4-pack.
4-pack.
Yeah.
It's nice. You can taste the tequila in it.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's good. I don't think it's great, but it's it'll do. But I was thinking about you with this COVID-19.
Okay.
You know how there's Purell stations everywhere, just up on the stage? You put your hand under it, give it a quick shot, and you get lathered up there pretty quick.
Familiar.
I feel like those hoppers could hold about anything. And I also feel like Purell's basically the consistency. I mean, if you're talking about viscosity, it's not much different than what's coming out of the lube bottles.
I think it would chafe, though.
No, you can't use Purell.
No, I'm saying
Replace the Astroglide.
those things are ubiquitous now. They're all. There's going to be. Look, here's my point. 6 months from now, there's going to be 200 million of those things for sale
Without
on
a home.
eBay for
Empty
$4.
ones. Yes.
Just empty. You get that thing, you throw the hopper in the dishwasher, fill it with the Neutrogena, whatever, the Vaseline intensive care, whatever your poison is, and you just sort of station it by the door of the bedroom. When you're stepping in.
Just arm's reach away.
Come on in.
All right.
Come on in. You need a blanket, a towel. There's some lube over there, an industrial size lube thing on my wall.
Girl comes
feel at
home.
home.
By the way, I just want everybody to know. I just going to, for the record, let me say here. I have actual sex too. It's not like I'm just constantly home with my VR goggles.
Chris, can you verify that?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I do.
Yeah, no, we know.
Yeah, it
Have
happens.
you ever had this? Would talk about the Matrix. Have you ever had sex with the VR goggles
want
on?
to.
That would
want
be
to.
that would blow my mind. Like, how would you even figure out what's real?
Well, I'm going to bring them to your wedding. Are there any single people going to be there?
There'll be a few, yeah.
Okay, I'll bring the VR go. Oh,
Okay.
that could be an enticement.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you know what I've got in my room. VR goggles. So you could have sex with me, but it could be somebody else.
That's
yeah. You could.
Everybody wins.
Go to a site and find somebody much bigger and better looking than me. Yeah.
Let's just say they're married. Is it really cheating if you're looking at Jenna Jameson?
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're not inside Jenna Jameson.
Good point.
All right.
Wait a minute.
As far as you know.
That's their... All right, should we try my friend Bravago?
Yeah.
So Matt, the moderator, DeAndrea, came up with his own hard seltzer.
Sonny's in.
Sonny
early
wants,
investor.
wants to invest in it.
We got chill out, and then we got sweet freak. What do you want?
I told him to bring, is that the Rainier Cherry?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rainier Cherry's chill out.
I love Rainier Cherry.
Okay,
So
and then
I
this
said,
one is vanilla orange cream.
Ooh.
So I told him,
both.
make a Rainier Cherry one because I love Rainier cherries. And it's the same thing. It's actually 5.1%.
Always better.
This one goes to 11, and it's like 100, 110, or whatever it is. But it's all
the cherry
same
one
way.
is 120.
Oh.
And the reason is because getting it to 5.1 alcohol adds 10 to 20 more calories.
That makes sense if you're fermenting it like that.
That's good. Well, okay. It's a little sweet, but it's good.
Ooh.
It's a little on the
Tart
sweet
and
side for me.
It's sweeter than what we're used to, but that was the plan.
It's sweetened with monk fruit.
Oh, that's
So
that's
rather than using
keto-friendly.
stevia or fake sugars, monk fruit is digestible and doesn't make you bloated.
It's all the keto blogs use monk fruit.
Oh, really?
What is monk fruit? I've never heard of it.
Powdered monk fruit. It's a sweetener substitute that, not according to Vinny, but according to every keto blog, you digest differently.
It's also a gay guy who never talks. I mean, on the street. I don't know what it is in the keto blog.
Right.
How much is this, Bravago?
Oh, this is down in your White Claw range.
Down in that range.
This is you're sort of not the highfalutin variety.
It's been some number of years. Does this have a Hawaiian punch taste to it?
Yeah, it's got that to it. I just felt like it has more going on than your White Claws. This is really like a White Claw competitor, not a $55
like a mass. A mass is clearly for.
Right.
And there's definitely a market for that too, because I think the people that are look, millennials drove White Claw. Okay, that's what and they're going to graduate, I think, eventually to, you know what, I'm tired of drinking. Not that White Claw's shit, but I mean it's
the Coke and Pepsi, not the
they're going to want to step
yeah.
it up. And I gotta say, I feel good right now because I was worried about hard seltzer. I was worried about. I felt like it might,
Is it kind
damage my reputation on the show because
You brought in Doggo into my house.
Dude, by the way, man, someday Snoop's gonna find us because we shit on that thing almost every time I'm on here.
Yes,
one day I'm gonna run.
No,
into
the seltzer's good.
Taja Ray. Oh my God, I know all the people that are in these movies. What a bad life I'm leading right now. But called American Something. It's American Something. They did like 3 of them. Better than Taboo.
But you say you do have sex with real women sometimes?